bye week. In the bye week, people say we got to get better. Well, I'm trying to help the fans out there get better by understanding where the Browns need to go, understanding what the Browns need to do to get this offense back on track, and kind of breaking some stuff down for the people who be out here talking crazy and reckless all the time. They'd be like, G. Bush, so just because you played football, you say you can only break down film, you're so negative, and you're not giving us any why don't you give any solution? Hopefully, all jokes aside, the people can find something interesting in this and find this helpful. And it'll be breaking down 5 specific things that I think will keep the Cleveland Browns offense back on track. These 5 things are very simple, very easy. I think they could be incorporated within a week, in a short bye week. And I think all 5 of these things will increase not only productivity, I think it would help your quarterback. I think it would also get your playmakers involved, like Kareem Hunt and Chubb. And I also think it gives you the best of both worlds. You'll be able to get your quarterback confident. You get your quarterback doing stuff that he actually likes doing. And you also get what Kevin Stefanski likes. He likes to run 3 tight ends. He likes to have his tight ends. He likes his run game. He likes his H-backs. He likes his fullback. Just because you want to run that, and just because that's what your bread and butter, it doesn't mean that you can't do other things and do other formations and still have that impact and still stay true to who you want to be. I'll show Kevin Stefanski exactly how you can deploy the tight ends, exactly how you can go about the tight ends, and make sure that you still can get points, still can get Baker together, and still have the running game. So let's go ahead and just hit that right now. I believe Baker Mayfield should be in shotgun or pistol 75% of the time.
In college, Mayfield played in a very QB-friendly system. OU featured a high number of quick screens, pop passes, just like in this play versus Georgia, and other single-read options.
Yes, 75% of the time.
Misdirection was an extremely common element for the Sooners playbook. In this offense, Mayfield only occasionally had to make pro-style reads after the snap. The vast majority of the time, he was in shotgun or the pistol and rarely took the ball under center.
First of all, what we might need to do is let's go ahead and define what the pistol offense is and how the pistol offense is deployed and how it's implemented inside offenses. Before we can get into and diagnose why I think Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns need to incorporate a lot more pistol formation and shotgun formation, we have to give you the definition and what the pistol formation does, what it entails, and how it affects the game plan and makes the job of the quarterback just a tiny bit easier to make reads and do certain things. The pistol is not an offense. It's not a scheme or a play. It's an alignment which is only a small adjustment to bridge the gap between the 2 most commonly accepted quarterback-running back alignments and gives a lot of flexibility for the offense. The pistol, which aligns the quarterback in a shortened shotgun position with his running back directly behind him. That provides a ton of options for the offensive coordinators, and it creates a series of innate advantages for the offense over the alternative formations. Now that we know exactly what it is, let's take a look at a couple of advantages of using the pistol offense. Now that we know what the pistol formation is and know exactly how the formation is supposed to run and supposed to look, let's get into the advantages of why you should run the pistol and why this is a really good opportunity for offensive coordinators to run this style offense. First, it allows a quarterback to stand upright, giving him the ability to see the defense more thoroughly. This is extremely important because if you think about it, Baker Mayfield is one of those guys who is 6'1", one of those guys. We've seen the Drew Breeses of the world. We've seen the Russell Wilsons of the world. And sometimes it's difficult under center to be able to diagnose what people are doing because you can't really see. It's also important that you're able to find passing windows between defensive linemen's hands, around offensive linemen, people trying to jump up and back down balls. So this is a great opportunity to get your quarterback upright and give him the ability to see the defense, totally and not just after the ball is snapped. 2, It allows the running back to take a north-south path to receive the handoff. This is another great reason why people should be running a pistol, and why I think it's a great opportunity for to use this with the Cleveland Browns, because they have a running game that wants to get north-south, right? They do a lot of things with gap schemes and zone schemes, but in the pistol, it's great because your alignment is already set. Guys are already put on a running back track by being directly behind the quarterback. And sometimes with younger backs or other backs, they tend to veer and don't hit it in the hole where they were supposed to, or where the play was designed to. Some guys bounce it too much. Some guys don't do cutbacks enough. So this is a really good opportunity in the pistol to make sure that people understand that you're going north and south, and it kind of gives them some guardrails. Third reason on this list is it gets the ball into the hands of the running back quicker, allowing him to attack the defense more quickly. When you're under center, you have to have a specific footstep and a foot rhythm, and you have to be very precise. In the pistol, because he's behind the quarterback and the distance is shorter, Baker could get that ball, turn around and give it to Nick Chubb, turn around and give it to Kareem Hunt. And now, instead of him having to wait for the football, one of the things that the running back can be doing, with that extra time that he's getting because the ball's getting to him quicker, he can be analyzing where color in the hole is, where are the linebackers associated, looking at cutback lanes, right? Just more vision, giving him more time to do his job. Quarterbacks have to read, but also running backs have to read, especially when you're in a formation where you're following a lead blocker or a tight end or H-back or something in the hole. Very, very, very important. They have enough time to read those holes and even be patient because they got the ball a little quicker. Fourth, it creates better angles for the running back in pass protection and blitz pickup. So when you are directly behind the quarterback, you have a two-way go essentially. You can go to the left to pick up a blitz. You can go up to the right, pick up a blitz. And because you're directly behind the center and directly behind the quarterback, you have the equal latitude to get to left or right within the same period of time. It also prevents the quarterback from having to turn his back to the defense, making play action fakes. I think that's really great. I think this is a really good one. If you look at the Cleveland Browns, and one of the things that they've been doing is last year in 2020, the boot game was working. Now those defensive ends, if you notice this year, are shutting that down. The reason they're shutting that down is because as soon as Baker Mayfield goes to run that bootleg action, that backside defensive end is not honoring the run. He's not honoring the run at all. And by the time Baker carries his fakes out, turns around, that defensive end is already in his face. He can either knock it down, he can get a hit on the quarterback, and he could cause a lot of havoc because they're not worried about it. And the pistol is different. You can't cheat like that because Baker does not have to turn his back to run a fake. His back is not towards the defense. He can see everything still. And the great thing about this as well, you can run the play action RPO, which is the run pass option, off of this, and it definitely preoccupies that defensive end. And the last but not least, the play action comes quicker and more effective because the proximity of the running back to the quarterback. This becomes especially useful for creating space in tight areas like in the red zone. For the pistol offense in a shotgun, those are two of the formations that I think Baker Mayfield should be in. You say, G. Bush, where you get to 75% at? Well, roughly that's the amount of time Baker Mayfield spent with Lincoln Riley in shotgun or pistol formation, 75% of the time. Baker Mayfield was always in a pistol, always in a shotgun. And as we pointed out, some of the pros of being in a shotgun, some of the pros of being in a pistol is the fact that you can see the field. You don't have to be exactly precise in your footsteps. You don't have to be a person who, takes the snap under center, drops back, 3-step, 5-step, when you talk about footwork of a quarterback under center, it's almost like learning ballroom dancing. Fakes, the foot movements, all of that stuff has to be ingrained in you. It has to keep going. It has to be almost burned into your consciousness so that you can do it just like that. You can walk and do it. Baker Mayfield and a lot of other quarterbacks don't do that. The reason is they've run pistol in high school. They've run pistol and shotgun in college. So by the time you get to the pros, you've had 12, 13 years of running this. So one of the things I think Stefanski does a terrible job of, and I think his previous regimes did a terrible job of, why would you put a kid under center, make him run some sort of West Coast Joe Montana where you're taking the ball under center and you're just taking snaps? That's not what he does, because his footwork has never been that great. That's not who he is. He needs to be back in the gun as a shorter quarterback, in the pistol as a shorter quarterback, looking, observing, giving an opportunity to see the defense a little better. The Baltimore Ravens are one of the most pistol, shotgun-heavy teams in the game, in the Buffalo Bills. Those guys know what their quarterbacks are. They put them in a strength of position. They put them in positions to actually play towards what they do best. So let's keep it moving. That's the first thing. If you want to fix this offense, I feel Baker should be in a shotgun and pistol, and that's where he's most comfortable. Now, the rebuttal to that was probably most likely going to be, well, what about the run game, G. Bush? What about the running game? We want that power downhill running game. We can't run out of the shotgun. Well, in all jokes aside, in all honesty, to be honestly truthful, when you dig inside the data suggests that you can run the ball more efficiently and effectively out of shotgun than you can under center. And that principle is true for one reason. When teams see shotgun, when teams are in the pistol, when they see shotgun, they are prepared for the pass. They're substituting guys in, they're substituting defensive backs, they're substituting safeties in the game. And so they're preparing for a run play. So now you have the numbers that you can run in the box, and you could actually load up on that, and you could run the ball more efficiently, more effectively out of the shotgun. You know, the points per carry are higher out of shotgun snaps rather than under the center snaps. And so a lot of people don't know that. If you really want to run the ball, I would stay in shotgun and run the ball because it's more effective. So let's go ahead to the next thing. And we just kind of talked about this a little bit. You want to deploy the running attack from the gun and pistol. You know, when you look at the data, and the data talks about how many teams are one of the highest scoring teams in EPA shares, the teams that are in gun the most are the Kansas City Chiefs. Baltimore Ravens are in gun a whole lot. Those teams are actually out there running the football from the zone, from shotgun, from pistol. So Cleveland, the Browns have exactly what you need. You got two running backs that can do their job. You got 2-3 tight ends that you want to utilize. You can still run your physical running attack by just lining up in shotgun, counter trays, power plays, gap schemes, zone schemes, all of those things. And then when you put in things like motion and jet motion, it really gets your running game going, because now those guys are out there trying to cover receivers in the shotgun package. But you got your guys, Chubb and Hunt, and those guys being physical, and you got corners, safeties trying to tackle them. So when you look at it, running out of the shotgun is more advantageous anyway. So you can still deploy Kevin Stefanski's offense by simply doing the same things that we're doing. So 2 things, just to recap so far. 75% pistol and shotgun for Baker Mayfield. He's already done it. He's already been successful in it in Lincoln Riley's playbook. Already done that, shown that he can run that playbook, and that's where he's most comfortable at. In fact, here's a quote right here, just showing in 2018 how uncomfortable he was, talking about the nuances and getting used to taking snaps under the center. The smoking gun for me is when I went back and did some research, and you can see that in some of these articles that were printed in some of the publications is that Baker didn't really seem comfortable taking snaps under the center. And so reporters were asking about this 24/7. I think a lot of people forget that he played in the shotgun and in the pistol predominantly his whole life. So I think sometimes we forget that, and he's in his 4th years of doing that, given the fact that how uncomfortable he was in the beginning. Mayfield said the biggest challenge is not so much fielding the snap, but rather moving after the ball is in his throwing hand. Once you get used to a center, you are good. Mayfield said. Just footwork, just getting used to getting depth from the line of scrimmage. You have to get separation. In shotgun, you already have it. So with the drop, you don't have to get any more depth. Now the emphasis is on getting back and being comfortable under control to where if I do have to step up, you can do that. It's just the footwork and getting comfortable. So as you can see, he talks about getting depth. And that's another thing that is a bright spot, because if you're already in a shotgun, you don't really got to worry about getting depth. You can just do that. So we got Baker is really a person that should be in shotgun. 2, we're deploying the running attack from the gun in pistol formations. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually show you some of my favorite pistol formations. These formations, as you can see on the screen as we look at them, these pistol formations aren't some fluff formation. They give you a lot of imbalanced looks. You can do a lot of motion off these. You can do a lot of different things as far as screen game. You could move your H back around. You could go double tights. You could do a lot of different things and making sure that you can get the best personnel on the field. And when you have a guy like Kareem Hunt, he can be multiple. He would be, for me, my de facto H-back. I think Kareem Hunt is the de facto H-back. He should be in the slot. He should be the guy running the jet motions. In these diagrams, when you're looking at the pistol formation, he's supposed to be the guy right there. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be one of the individuals there. And we'll talk about a formation that I love coming up here in a moment that should be implemented, that has Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in the backfield. That should be the go-to formation for the Cleveland Browns. So here's the next thing. We number 3, we talked about this a little bit. Kevin-Stefanski can run the 3 tight ends or the 2 tight ends. You can still be tight end heavy in the gun. Is he shifting everybody out 5 wide? And his problem with 5 wide is this. When you shift and go 5 wide and you have 3 tight ends on the field, you take away your run pass option. They know Baker Mayfield is not a running quarterback. So the only run you can run out of empty 5 wide with 3 tights is quarterback draw or quarterback power. You can't run that because Baker's not a running quarterback. So now teams are already ready to go. And what should be catching people off guard, you have to have 2 options for the defense to have to respect you. So now you can't threaten them vertically because they're tight ends. You can't threaten them with the play action because there's no running back. You can't threaten them with a run play because there's no running back and your quarterback's not a running quarterback. So that's why it's a decent concept. I understand where he's going with it. But in order to do that, you're still going to have to do and employ it in a different way. My thought process is I like 12 personnel better a little bit. 12 personnel, and let me go ahead and explain personnel. Personnel groupings are very easy to get. You hear it all the time. So let's go ahead and learn something all together. 12 personnel simply is 1 running back, 2 tight ends. The first number that I speak denotes how many running backs are on the field, right? So 12, 1 running back. The tight ends are the second number. So 2 tight ends. So if I say 12 personnel, that means 1 running back, 2 tight ends. 13 personnel, 1 running back, 3 tight ends. Now you can even go opposite of that, right? Say, for instance, I want to go 21. 21 means I got 2 running backs in the backfield, and I got 1 tight end. You can go 22. 22 personnel is most likely goal line, two tight ends, 2 running backs, right? Also, you can actually have 10 personnel. 10 personnel usually is your 4 wide receivers. So a shotgun, 4 wide receivers, 1 running back. So we don't count the receivers. It's only 1, the running back, and then second number is the tight end. So if you have 4 wide receivers on the field, that's 10 personnel. And it is important because now, instead of people moving around and kind of playing you for one thing, you can do everything in your playbook. Think about it. It even widens the gap scheme. So traditionally, there's only 5 or 6 gaps. But when you put 2 tight end sets up there in 12 personnel, look how many gaps the defense has to cover in the run game. You can potentially max protect and keep 7 in and keep the running back in and go for a shot play. You can still run your tight end screens. You can bring the receiver in motion, run jet motion with him. You can run tunnel screens. You can run bubble screens. You can run zone. You can run read option. This is a really big, heavy package, and you still can do things against zone like 4 verts, 2 tight ends running up the seam, and then you got your 2 outside, the flanker, the X or the Z running verts. So you can do a lot out of that, man. And I just love it because you have the ability to keep 1 tight end in and block. You have the ability to keep a running back in and block. There's so many different things you can run with that. And so it gives Kevin Stefanski some versatility if he wants to use multiple tight ends, right? If you want to do that, do it in a way that your quarterback doesn't have to give up any of his comfortability, doesn't have to give anything back. Still, Baker, if he wants to throw the ball on play action, he doesn't have to turn his back to the line of scrimmage. He can throw the ball. He could do all of those different things, and he doesn't have to be so precise with his footwork. He doesn't have to be so pinpoint accurate with all of his mechanics. All he has to do is get back there, survey the scene, and it'll give him an opportunity to possibly audible. Ain't that a novel thing, right? So you can run tight. It's all about how you do it. It's little nuances that that's what make the soup good. It's just the little nuances that can get you going. And I think one of the things is the heavy tight end package out of gun. I love that formation. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb need to be on the field together 80% of the time. Before we even get to the formation that I want to see them in, they have to be on the field 80% of the time. And the reason that those guys need to be on the field is because it adds extra stress to the defense. You're forced to now tackle 2 dominant ball carriers. They can get the ball at any given time. You can get the ball to Chubb or Hunt. You don't have to do either or. And at this point, when you don't have an Odell Beckham Jr. and you don't have consistent deep threats, the way you have to really conquer and really go after defenses is you have to stretch them east and west. And if you can't stretch them east and west, you're done, because you can't do it north and south because you don't have the personnel right now. So the thought process is when you stretch people east and west, sideline to sideline, what you're forcing people to do is make sure there's assignment football, make sure that they have to run, they have to gang tackle, and one-on-one is not going to work. So when you're running those jet motions and the receivers coming in motion and they take it and toss it to him and pitch it to him, that receiver always has 5-6 yard running head start. Imagine if that receiver had that 5-6 yard running start was Kareem Hunt. How would that be if that back or the guy coming in jet motion was Nick Chubb with 5 yards head start? Come on, man. DBs is tackling that? No.
At the end of the day, it's all about numbers. In this formation, Oklahoma has 6 blockers in the box, including the 5 offensive linemen and the second running back who's going to be a blocker on this play.
You also have a lot of different things you can do. Kareem Hunt should be in a slot.
On the other side of the ball, TCU has 7 or 8 guys who could potentially get into the run fit. They've got 3 defensive linemen at the first level, 2 linebackers stacked behind them at the second level, defensive backs on the outside as force players to each side of the formation, and even a safety who doesn't have a receiving threat and so can potentially rock down into the box.
You could put him in a slot. It's a mismatch on a linebacker.
This means that Oklahoma doesn't have the numbers to win with just a straight-ahead run play. When they pull those 2 backside linemen across the formation, however, that overloads the left side of the formation and gives the Sooners the numbers that they need.
He's too physical. He's too strong. His hands are good.
They can't block everybody in the box, but they can block everybody to one side, and that's good enough.
Why would you not be having these guys on the field all of the time? Make them guard you. Kareem Hunt and these guys need to be getting touches. They're not getting regular touches enough. They need to be in the game, and they need a game plan for both of them at the same time. You letting people off the hook by not playing them at the same time, and you don't even have the personnel to do that. So now that we talked about them being on the field 80% of the time, let's look at the formation that I think you got to run with those guys.
When using some form of 20 personnel, the extra back can be used as a lead blocker, a running back, or a receiver. And since their pre-snap alignment is the same, it's hard for the defense to know how to prepare for it.
You got the split back formation. I like the split backs with the tight end. You can also flex this out a little bit. So you can go split backs with 3 receivers, or you can go split backs, 2 wideouts, 1 slot guy. And for me, this that Wolverine package.
The simplest way Norvell can utilize a second back is to send him as a lead blocker around the edge. On this play, the extra back makes the key block on this safety to turn a solid gain into a touchdown.
And what it does, it gives you some action. You can run split action off that. You can run read option off that. You can set up, you can run orbit motion and all those things after that. And those are really good plays to stretch the defense and stretch them east and west.
Offenses tend to leave backside defensive ends unblocked in order to gain an advantage on the front side of the play. To keep these players from crashing hard and chasing down the running back, teams will run read options where the quarterback can either give the ball or run it himself.
So it forces them to play assignment football. It forces them to have to make tackles and gain tackle. It forces those guys to keep their assignments.
However, Norvell's quarterbacks, in general, haven't been mobile enough to make that a relevant threat. So instead, he runs what's called split action. Here, the front side back will block the backside end, which creates a new gap. The linebackers are caught flowing with the line, which leaves this gap unfilled.
So all these things, you have to keep that constant pressure on, and that is why I'm a huge advocate on keeping those guys together, having a specific package for it.
In this next clip, Memphis will run what looks like split action, but instead of blocking, this back will slip into the flats. The quarterback then reads this linebacker. If the linebacker fills the gap like he was supposed to in the last play, then the quarterback will pull the ball and hit the back, who should now have a numbers advantage on the outside.
And definitely making sure that those guys are getting touches,
They can run some downfield RPOs as well out of this look. The split action draws up the linebackers, and the quarterback reads this safety. Since the safety crashes down, it leaves a wide receiver one-on-one on the outside, who the quarterback hits for a big gain.
Touches are being represented in the offense, right? And then another thing, the last thing that we'll talk about here is the use of jet motion and orbit motion in 50% of the offensive playbook. That's 50% of everything, whether it's in gun, whether it's under center, whether it's in pistol. Orbit motion and jet motion frees the defense. And when you look at that, the jet motion and the orbit motion helps you in both the running game and the passing game. When you take a look at it and look and see how it opens up space, it's very intriguing.
The second motion that you need is to have a quick motion with your wide receivers, especially if it's in a slot. So for instance, let's go into 2x2 right here. Let's bring him into quick motion.
Norvell will also motion another back into the backfield before the play starts. This pre-snap motion, where the player runs parallel to the line of scrimmage, is commonly referred to as jet motion. This allows the running back to stress the linebackers as he has a running start towards the perimeter.
Why is that important? Well, when the defense sees this kind of motion, they can do 3 things. 1, they don't do anything. They just sit there. You get a hat advantage. You gain an advantage to that side. 2, they could spin down like this. Once they spin down this way, they're one high. You can do a lot of different things to teach your quarterback and attack that. That is really nice. The third way, 3, is they can just bump everybody over like this.
So as you can see, the defense has a little, they don't have that many options. It's a few things that they're doing, right? But off those options, if you have versatile players that can move around and shake around and do these things, I think you're going to have an opportunity to put those guys in in the mix. You can,
like this. Well, if they bump over like this, they're giving up a lot of grass on this side, which you can attack. You can attack this by motion, fake, and run counter this way. Motion, if they don't move anybody like this, then you can just hand the ball off, do a speed sweep, and now you have numbers. Or if they spin down like this, then you can run some kind of run play or pass play off of this in the box where you are running Y cross and you're attacking this empty space right here. Those really simple with the quick motion.
you can mix these guys up, right? You could get the screens, you can get the outside zones, you can get the tosses.
If the linebackers start flowing outside when they see jet motion, then Norvell can run inside zone back in the other direction. Again, they can use this action to draw up the defense, which allows them to run play actions and RPOs downfield. In this clip, the quarterback sees the safety come up, so he hits the post behind him.
All of these things are there predicated to cause some sort of confusion, amp the pace up, make sure that those guys are respecting your run and pass game. You can run play action off of it. And the great thing about all of these things,
in this clip, they motion a back into the play using what's commonly referred to as orbit motion. This is where the guy in motion comes behind the players in the backfield. Here, the motioning back becomes a potential pitch man for the triple option. The quarterback will first read this end. Since the end stays outside, the quarterback gives the ball.
this is just a couple formations. I haven't said anything that's rocket science. This is something you can implement easy.
This is compounded by the fact that the safety also flows outside with the motion, leaving a free lane to a touchdown.
As you go back through it and you look at it, let's be clear. Let's go back through it and just show you how easy this is. Baker Mayfield, put him in shotgun or the pistol. He's used to it. He's comfortable there. 2, deploy the running attack from the gun or pistol. If you already put Baker back there, when you run the ball, it's going to be from the gun or pistol, right? Obvious things that you can do, simple things. If Kevin-Stefanski likes the heavy tight end package stuff, there's a great formation out there where I think you could be physical. I think you could get pass protection. And I actually think that you can still run a lot of the stuff you want to run, but because you were doing it in gun, it's more successful given the fact that it's easier to run out of the gun than it is under center. And your quarterback should be more accurate because he is in the gun. Next thing, how hard is it to put your best playmakers? 80%. How hard is it to put your best playmakers on the field? Make them guard you. Make them have to have a game plan for not only Kareem Hunt, but Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt at the same time. Those are things that you can definitely mess with. They're versatile. They can block for each other. Good hands, good skill sets. Those are things that you should be doing. And then finally, use orbit motion and jet motion. You got guys who've done that. Anthony Schwartz made a living. He made it to the NFL by doing that. Demetric Felton is another guy. But what you have to do is you can't be doing what you're doing now. Now you're just having to move around. Every move has to be meaningful, which means you have to put it on tape, which means you have to complete the pass, or you have to commit to saying, when we run orbit motion, I'm going to give it to him a few times. When we run orbit motion, I got to give it to him. So it's on tape, so they got to respect it. Right now, they do a little bit of orbit motion. They do a little bit of jet motion, but there's nothing off of it. Overall, I think these are 5 easy implementable changes that the Cleveland Browns can do today to make their offense look a hell of a lot better. And as a coach, it's not about you. It's not about what you are. As a coach, you're supposed to feel like I could draw up anything. I could switch in a heartbeat. I don't got a playbook. My playbook is whatever personnel I got. And one of the major issues that I feel from Jump Street is the fact that Baker Mayfield is macho. Baker Mayfield has a lot of bravado. And Baker Mayfield wants to prove everybody wrong every single time. So when it comes to him being under center, and when it comes to him being accurate every single time, and when it comes to him wanting to prove people wrong, he's of course going to buy hook, line, and sinker that he could be a quarterback that takes snaps under the center. Not saying that he can't, but it's a difference between saying you can't do something or you're just not as efficient doing it. My people always used to tell me, understand and know who you are. If you understand who you are, know what your game plan is, you can be the best you. And I've seen the best Baker Mayfield. And that best Baker Mayfield has came in college, and that came in a year where he was in the shotgun a lot. So, as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit this like. This is one of these blogs that I think everybody should see. So unless you guys support it, and unless you hit that like button, you know what I'm gonna do. What we gonna do? As always, it's your boy G Bush. We'll be back with you on Tuesday for another Browns preview. Enjoy the bye week. Go Browns, and we'll be back with you really, really soon. Peace.